Good morning. Good morning, y'all. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? It's Wednesday and it's raining in LA. And it's funny because there's no traffic, but rain in LA is still like an anomaly. But we are happy to be here. Welcome to class. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Make sure that as you're coming in, you are bringing a friend along. Make sure that you share the live. Make sure you're sharing it with your friends, your family, the people that get on your nerves, because you know everybody need a little class every now and then. And y'all been waiting for class. Hey, Gina. Hey, cousins. Go ahead and greet your cousins. I've been waiting for class. I know that we're on this kind of block scheduling where we've been doing Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And Monday got a little hectic, and so we didn't have class on Monday. But we are here today, and I have a dear friend and expert that's going to come on in just a second. And y'all know him. He's a friend of the class. He's a friend of the cousins. And so we'll have David Kessler with us in just a minute. But before we do that, y'all know I got to give you a song. You know I gotta give you a song. Y'all look around and see who's in the room and who ain't in the room before I do this song, because I don't want no repeats. Good morning, Sonya. Hey, Shantae. Good morning. Hey, Shauna. Good morning. Good morning. So y'all ready? Y'all ready for the song? Huh? Y'all ready? All right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Hello, 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 and how are you? Mighty fine, mighty fine, mighty fine, and you are too. Hello, 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 and how are you? Mighty fine, mighty fine, mighty fine, and you are too. Cause, period. Cause y'all know that's what we do. Cause, period. I am happy to see y'all. Hey, Shamber. Hey, y'all. Hey, Irish Twin. Real quick, before I bring our guest on, David said, good morning, cousins. Real quick, before I bring our guest on, we have a graduation. If you have not seen the flyer yet, there is an email that's circulating, and there is an assignment for you guys. Hey, Jen, I'm happy to see you. There is a graduation on December 29th at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Central time, and 7 p.m. Eastern time. There is a graduation for all of us cousins. We've made it through. We've made it through the entire year, and it's time for a graduation. It's time for us to celebrate one another, and it's time for us to acknowledge the accomplishment that we've made. I'm going to bring our special guest on because I want to jump into today's topic. Yes, as someone says, I'm so excited for this live with David Kessler. Yes, he is the best. And David he's joined class before. Hi, David.
Hey there.
How are you?
Oh, so much better for seeing all of you this morning.
Oh, how sweet of you. I am so excited for this conversation because I was talking to one of my friends and I was telling them that I had you coming back on the show, and they said that's so good, especially during the holiday. You know, a lot of us, who've experienced loss of a loved one, loss of a job, loss of commitments, whatever it may look like. We're just trying to figure out how to process that during the holidays. Thanksgiving was the first time I had a holiday without my mom, and it was a little wonky, and now, Christmas is upon us. And so I'm happy to have you, the expert, here to help us with this.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Christmas, the holidays, New Year, they are all about togetherness and family. And what do you do when the person you'd love to be together with is no longer here physically?
Yeah.
Their absence is loud. It's so hard for us. And the world wants to cheer you up. And that's a nice thing, but you can't cheer our mom back, our father back, our sibling back, our child back, our person that divorced us, that left us, that isn't speaking to us. Great, you want to cheer us up and all that, but it's not that easy.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's interesting, and we'll take this a couple of different ways, but you just said something. You said that person that divorced us, or there was a divorce, and they're still here, but they're not a part of the family. They're not a part of what we're doing. Like that's tough because that's part of my situation too. You know, I'm a divorcee, and my daughters, you know, we don't do holidays with their dad, and so there's many people who can relate to that. What do we do then?
Well, I think, first of all, we all grew up with this ideal family we thought got together for the holidays. Part of growing up is you realize that's just not true.
Mm.
Now, social media, oh my gosh, has made it so worse. I remember at a Thanksgiving looking on social media and seeing my friend and her family, and they were all together for Thanksgiving. Everyone was there, everyone was alive, everyone was happy. And I said to her when I saw, oh my gosh, that just looked like the most ideal Thanksgiving. She goes, 5 times it took to get that picture, David. And let me tell you, right after that picture, Uncle Jim, he stormed out. And Sue, she's not talking to James. And like, you hear all this drama. But if you just look at that picture, you're like, everyone's perfect but me.
Mm.
Yet, we do have those people that aren't speaking to us, those people that aren't seeing us, those people that did break up with us, that divorced us, that we divorced. That is part of life. It's hard. And the holidays really amplify that pain.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. What I do is I don't buy into the comparison, especially on social media. You know, it's easy
Ooh,
to.
that's hard. That's hard. Tell us
It is.
How do you do that? How do you do that? Tell us.
It's honestly a decision. I can click on social media because we get plenty of practice of buying into people's happiness or their facades, right? Because we know that social media is a world where everyone wants to show us their highlights. You know, they want to show us their great times, their smiles, their cheerful moments. But it's not a very fair place where they show us all of it. And so what I do is I practice not comparing myself. You know, my family, my life, my journey is just that. And if I have to repeat that to myself 1,000 times, you know, I'll just scroll by and I'll tell you another method. And I don't know how you know good this is, but it works for me. If it's something that is causing an emotion that I don't know what to do with, I'll just unfollow, or I'll just like what is it called? You can hide a post or whatever it is. Like I do those things until I'm ready, until I'm able to. Otherwise, I'm just not. Or I'll just get off social media. Period.
I will tell you, that's so important because there's been a couple of people, every time I read their post, it brings out the worst in me. Not even putting it on them. It brings out the worst in me. It makes me unhappy. And I think, why can't my social media bring me joy? And I did just what you said, unfollow. They're there. I could get them back any day.
Yeah.
But right now, not bringing me joy, unfollow.
Yeah, it's really helpful because again, we have so many things that's in our real world, you know, that's tangible, that we're touching, that we have to focus on, that we have to deal with. And social media is something that's not really tangible, something that's just out there. It really doesn't help. So I love that. What if you have that, like, because I know when my ex and I first divorced, there was this feeling like I should do something. I should do something so that the kids wouldn't have this empty space, or they wouldn't feel like the pain of, you know, the absence. Like, what do we do with that?
Here's the thing. This is a really hard one. I know this as a parent, is we are fixers.
Yeah.
And as a parent, we are also teachers. And part of our work is to teach our kids to live with the things that can't be fixed. Got to teach them, can't bring two people together that don't want to be together anymore.
Yeah.
Can't bring people back from the dead. You know, someone died. It's hard. I can't make it easier. You know, my younger son died years ago, as you know, and I can't make that better for his brother.
Yeah.
That's just always going to be bad. Someone's gotten a divorce. I can't undo that and make people married again. So we have to teach them we can still have joy despite
Yeah.
the tough things we don't want. It's interesting, just to give a broader context here, people always think about grief as death, and that is one of the biggest griefs. It is also the death of that, you know, perfect family, the death of that marriage, that's a divorce, the death, the breakup, the death of that job. So all those are griefs. All those are griefs. And I always say, grief is a change you didn't want. That estrangement, that person not talking anymore, you and your aunt not getting along, you didn't want that, but it is. And we have to teach our kids to just show up even when things are the way we don't want them to be.
Yeah, that's good. Having those tough conversations, having those hard conversations, you know.
Yeah, and to say, look, I'm also sad that we don't have that perfect family and we're not married again. But you know, you mean so much to me. Let's still find a little joy in this holiday, even though there's sadness about the divorce. Like, I got to tell you, there was 1 year after my younger son had died, my older son said to me, we can never have Christmas again. And I said to him, I know how you feel. I get that. I feel that way too. But I said, you know, I'm probably going to be around for a few more decades. I would hate to think I never get another good Christmas with you.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, all right, maybe down the road we can have a good Christmas again. I'm like, okay, planted that seed.
Yeah, I love that. You know what's interesting? So years, and I mean years ago, my uncle passed away and my grandmother decided that our family wasn't having Christmas anymore. And Christmas was the highlight of our family. Like, we have a huge family and everyone would get together at my grandmother's house to celebrate. And after my uncle's passing, it was devastating. And she canceled Christmas because it happened around Christmas. And so for years, you know, we didn't put up a tree. She would allow us to gather at her house, but it was like odd, right? And then shortly after her passing, my mother canceled Christmas. Like, she fussed. She didn't want any decorations up. She didn't want Christmas just to be a thing. And I'm like, Mama, we can't do that because we still have small children and we want to celebrate, you know. And I made it after my mom's passing. I'm making it my business not to cancel Christmas and not to carry that as a tradition because it's important to my children. Someone says life goes on. It does. And it's not a get over it, but it's a how do we move on? How do we get on with it?
Well, you know, I brought you some tips today.
I'm happy.
So I got 5 tips for you.
Let's hear them.
All right. The first one, if you are sad this holiday season, you are not a Grinch. You are in grief.
Ooh, I'm going to write these down.
You are not a Grinch. You are in grief. It's okay to not be okay. If you're in a breakup, you're in a divorce, someone died, it's okay to be sad this holiday season. You are not a Grinch. Okay? Number 2, and we kind of just talked about this, ignore the lie. Ignore the lie of the perfect family out there. No one's got one. No one, even the people that look like they got one, don't really have one. Number 3, love the rituals that help. Let go of the ones that don't.
Oh, I like that one.
Boy, you love Christmas dinner, Christmas Eve, pajamas, opening a gift, whatever your rituals, you love it. Ooh, lean into it when you're in grief. On the other hand, you always felt like you got to write everyone a Christmas card and your spouse died and you're brokenhearted, you can let go of that.
Mm.
You can let go of it. You got to pass. You're in grief.
I like that.
So love the rituals that help, let go of the ones that don't. This next one, no is a complete sentence. Someone tells you, you've got to come over on Christmas Day. No, thank you. Wait, you can't. You got it. No, thank you. Wait, we have to have you come. No, thank you. Well, everyone's going to be there, and you just got to repeat, no, thank you. You don't have to explain. You don't have to explain you.
Yeah.
No is a complete sentence. Okay. The next one, bring your loved ones with you. I never leave the people who die behind. You know, people will say, move on. We don't move on or get over the people who died. They weren't colds or flus.
Yeah.
They're these amazing people. I'm wearing my father's watch today.
Yeah.
I'm bringing him with me today.
That's
there
my
you
mama.
go. There you go. You know, sometimes we might bring a favorite dish of our moms to the get together. Bring your loved ones with you.
I like that.
And the last one, and we kind of talked about this too, it's okay if you need to temporarily cancel a holiday. It is okay. You know, I say Christmas is just Thursday. You know, I'm sorry, this year Christmas is just Monday. Thanksgiving's just Thursday.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Jesus is going to be okay if we don't put a tree up.
Yeah.
It's okay if you cancel it temporarily because you're just in too much pain.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
You know, that's interesting because, like, I just made that statement when my grandmother canceled Christmas. All of the kids were like, what in the world? Christmas is canceled. We don't get a tree.
Hard to do with children. I will agree. If you
hard
got
to do
young
with children.
They're not going to understand.
Yeah, wait,
You might have to suck it up for the kids.
So that's the other thing. And so when my mom canceled Christmas, I'm like, we have small children, mama. Right? And so now I have a 22-year-old is my oldest and a 12-year-old is my youngest. And although Thanksgiving, I just wasn't feeling it. You know, I wasn't feeling like, you know, Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm getting there, but I'm determined. And my children won't let me cancel it. They're like, you forgot to put up the other ornaments on the tree. We need you to put those ornaments up.
You know, I say in grief, we only got two things to do: grieve fully and live fully. So you might have to go through the presents, and that doesn't mean you've got to really give in to Christmas, but you know, the kids aren't going to understand that.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Let's talk about that a little bit because, you know, some of us have smaller children, and even when we're talking about loss or breakup or even jobs ending, right? Some people have literally lost their jobs, and that's a grief. Like they're grieving a lifestyle, you know, this holiday season. How do you have those tough conversations, you know, with children?
It's hard, but you have to tell the truth. I always say, you don't want your kids to catch you in a lie. So, you know, that's people say, oh, Grandpa went on a long trip. Yeah, well, how are you going to get out of that one? Because Grandpa's never coming back.
Yeah.
Or, you know, oh, Dad's just taking a lot of time off work. You've got to be honest. And the thing is, we want to teach our kids that bad things do happen and we still survive them.
Yeah.
So we do want to say, this is really a hard time. I've lost my job. Mom and Dad have divorced. Whatever it is, you got to be honest.
Yeah.
You got to be honest with them.
I love that because it's teaching them that things happen, and when they become an adult, you know, and something happens, it's not the first time that they're experiencing it, and you're giving them a little experience and how to deal with these type of things, right?
And you know, one of the things is we heal from grief and trauma together.
Yeah.
You need other people.
Yeah.
It's always good to still connect. Like if there's anyone out there who's struggling, I want to make sure I don't forget. If there's anyone struggling, this Saturday, the 23rd, I'm going to have a free session. They can go to grief.com and click on the top and register. We're going to get together and talk about how hard the holidays are for an hour.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
love that.
So just know grief.com if anyone is having a tough time and needs some connection this holiday season.
Yeah.
And the thing that's weird is for people who are alone during the holidays, we feel a little shame. And there's no need for any shade around that. There's times in our lives we do something alone. Part of adulthood is doing a holiday alone. And doesn't mean you don't want to connect. That's why we'll connect for people who just want to get some more tips and want a connection. But sometimes you need to go to that 12-step meeting. You need to go to that get-together. You just need to be around some other people.
Yeah. I love that you don't grieve alone, because grief has the tendency to make you feel like you need to be alone or like no one wants to be around you. You're always sad, you're always crying, you may bleed on someone, and so go and become sheltered. And so I love when you said, well, we don't grieve alone.
And there's a strange thing that grief needs to be witnessed. We need our pain reflected in the eyes of another. We need someone to see our hurt. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Your sister who gets you, your best friend who, been there for everything, they might not understand your grief. Grief is the strange time that sometimes our family and friends don't get it. They feel like strangers, but strangers can feel like family and friends.
I love that. I love that. It's, somebody just put the grief.com this Saturday. I want to make sure, and I'll repeat it again before we leave, that, if you are alone for the holidays or just, in need of...
You need some more tips,
you need
more
tips,
inspiration.
Tools, whatever it may be. David has a resource, and I want to please welcome you guys to go and be a part of it. I love one thing that you said, no is a complete sentence. Because I know I'm not alone in this when I say, I'll say no, but I want to explain myself because I'll feel bad for saying no. And I end up feeling bad.
That is the disease to please.
The disease to please.
Don't we all have the disease to please? I know I do.
Wow.
We have the disease to please.
That, yeah, it is. It's like that people pleasing, and you're like, now I feel even worse because I committed to something. I didn't feel like going. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to be a part of it, and now I have to, put on a face. And so, no being a complete sentence, I'm not just using that for grief. I'm using that in life.
Yeah, that's a good one for everything. I have one more tip and this is another tip. Perfect for the holiday season, but you can use it all the time.
Yes.
If you're going to go to that get-together, that party, that holiday party, you're not sure if you can do it, you've got so much going on, you're so sad, you can literally, I walk into every get-together, hi there, just dropping by. Just dropping by. I let people know I'm just dropping by. Now, maybe once I get there, I'm like, okay, this is good. I'm okay. I might decide to stay longer. That's okay. But give yourself an exit strategy. I'm just dropping by.
That's so smart. I'm going to use that for life, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The thing is, grief teaches us things about loss, but it teaches us things about life.
Yes. And that's so true. Right? You learn quickly when there's a grief, again, whether it's a loss of a job, a family member, whatever it is, there's like a certain type of maturity or a certain type of strength that has to come up, that you learn something else and you're like, that's something that's resourceful that I can use for life in general. I love this. I want to ask you about the rituals, when you say that you can leave rituals behind, like I don't have to carry everything, right?
Right.
I think that's very special in its own way, because I think that we get tied to tradition, right? And we want to hold on to a tradition. But what if that tradition is difficult for me this year? What if that tradition is hard for me and I just can't go through it, right? Or I can't process it. Leaving it behind, and not forever.
Right, temporarily. And here's the thing, grief is often a time of reevaluation, letting go, recreation. You let all that go. All right, I don't have to go to the parties this year. I don't have to do all the holiday stuff. I don't have to put a tree up. My kids are grown. I don't have to, go to this and that. Don't have to send cards. Give yourself, you got to pass this year. Next year, you can go. Which one brings me joy? Oh, I do like writing those holiday cards. Great, it brings you joy. I do like going to some of the get-togethers. Great, they bring you joy. You get to reevaluate things.
Yeah, I love that. This is what I don't want to do. When I'm, sometimes I'll say, well, I don't want to go, I don't want to participate, and I'm going to give myself that space. But I'll sit in my bed and I'll sulk. What should I do instead of sitting in my bed and just feeling bad? Or is that okay?
It's okay.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about resilience, and we think it's that strong, get yourself into work, and look, we got to go to work and make a living and all that. But there's also times if your grief is just so painful and you need a Saturday in bed, then take a Saturday in bed. Take it in bed without guilt.
That's
Don't bring guilt to bed with you.
That's it. Because I can tend to bring guilt. I feel bad, and I feel like it's not so much shame, it's guilt. It's the feeling bad for doing, something different.
And here's the thing. When we're sad, those emotions are exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
Grief is exhausting. And we live in a society that we're like, you can find it all over Instagram too. Be productive. How to do these things. How to do. And no one has I'm going to do an Instagram. It's going to be like, here's the 3 things you need to do nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. It's okay to sometimes not be productive.
I love that. Yeah, someone said, but sometimes your surroundings are making you feel guilty. That's true, but I feel like we can exit those surroundings.
Yeah, and it is tough. I understand that. If I'm trying to have a slow day and I see someone whirling around being productive, it does make me go, and here I am just laying here, and I have to say, mind, stop it. They're choosing to run around. I don't have to. Every human being gets to make their own choice. Great. They're going to buzz around and do 10 things. I am going to bless them, but not take it on.
Yeah, I love that. You know what I practice with myself too is I'll say, because sometimes I feel guilty for not being productive, or if I'm just having a day where I'm just sitting, because I'm allowing myself to feel whatever I'm going to feel that day, I'll say to myself, Dannella, you're right where you're supposed to be. Dannella, it's okay for you not to do anything. Dannella, it's okay for you to take a break. Everybody's okay. The children are okay. Everybody's fed. The house is clean. There's nothing that I need to be doing. I have to go through this checklist in my mind to tell myself, it's okay for you to have a break. It's okay for you to do nothing.
Right.
Being unproductive is productive.
That's right. I saw something in the chat. I want to just mention this real quick. Someone talked about anxiety. I want to give a little tip for anxiety.
Please.
When we're anxious, it is our mind watching movies about a future that hasn't happened.
Mm-hmm.
Anxiety is our mind watching the worst scenario play out. Here's what I do and what I tell people to do. I picture myself, I'm in a big movie Cineplex. We all have been in a big movie Cineplex. Picture your local Cineplex, and the next time you get anxious, go, oh, I'm watching movies of the worst thing that can happen in this future. Let me get up from this Cineplex number 3 and let me go over to Cineplex number 4 where they're playing the best future I can have.
Yeah, I love
And let
it.
me calm my nervous system down by seeing, oh, what if everything goes right tomorrow? What if everything goes right tomorrow? I know the movie, What If Everything Goes Wrong Tomorrow? I've watched that 100 times. What if everything goes right tomorrow? Let me watch that.
Yeah, I love that. I know you have to get out of here soon, but I do want to take some questions. So I want to allow the cousins.
Sure.
What questions do you have for David or for myself? How can we help you? Why do we get anxious when we are grieving? Is that because we think of the life without our loved one?
So good. Here's why. If you're lonely right now in your grief, you project that loneliness. You're like, I'm going to have 40 more years of loneliness. And that feeling is not final. It's not the future. Here's what I say when I'm lonely or sad. I go, I'm lonely and sad now. Now. I don't know tomorrow. I don't know next year. I'm only going to come into the now. I'm lonely and sad now.
That's really good. I'm okay, hold on. How can I support the ones in my life that are grieving without overstepping or making it worse? That's a great question.
That's a great question. So here's the thing, Shauna. With that question, people in grief actually like to get asked about their grief. They like to talk about their loved ones. I mean, Danielle, if I was to say to you, tell me about your mama. I mean, you wouldn't go, how dare you, David? Right. You'd be like, yeah, I got a favorite story to tell. So ask people about their loved ones. Say the person's name who died. Talk to them about it.
Yeah, I find that people sometimes can be a little weird because they don't know what to say. And so they make the situation, people aren't weird, but they make the situation weird. They'll say, it's kind of awkward. I'm like, it's okay. They'll say, I'm sorry about your mom's loss or your mom's passing. And I'm like, she's in a great place. And then I'll tell them, and they're like, oh, okay, we're relieved. We can talk about it. Like, it's not this odd place. No, it's not. Like, I do like when you ask me about my mom. I want to talk about her all the time. Why does it feel like a cloud following you sometimes?
Sometimes we do have clouds. We're a culture, a society that's all about the mountaintops. Climb every peak. Go up there. Sometimes we have valleys in life. It's okay to have a valley. It's okay to have a cloudy day. Lord knows here in LA, we've got clouds. That's life. Life is not all sunshine. And to recognize they don't follow you. They just are. It's not personal. They don't follow you.
That's good. Someone asked, why do we lose friendships in our grief?
Here's the thing about friendships. Sometimes we want people to understand our grief, but their spouse is alive, or they're not going through a divorce, or their children are alive, or their parents are both alive, and we want them to understand us. You can't understand it if it hasn't happened to you. That's why people come to grief groups, to talk to the people who get it, to talk to the people who do get it.
Yeah, I love that. Someone asked, we'll take like 3 more if that's okay. How do I show up for my child when they're grieving, when also I'm grieving? So how do I show up for someone that's grieving while I'm grieving too?
Oh, this is a tough one. Here's the thing. You still have to parent your child in grief. Now, sometimes parents, including me, make the mistake of thinking I'm going to bring my grief to my child because my child knows their dad. They know the same one. Maybe they know their brother, whoever died, whoever left. You can't bring your grief to your child. Your job as a parent is to take care of their grief, and you bring yours to your friends, to the grief group, online, but don't bring it to your child.
That's interesting. Yeah. And the reason why I'm
Someone's
saying,
asking if we can save this live. I hope we can.
yes, the live will be saved. That's
Good.
interesting. And the reason why I'm saying that's interesting is because, I, not that I don't know that I have, probably I have, right? But, I thought that maybe grieving together was an option. Like,
Grieving together is not bad. Bringing your grief to your child is where we get in trouble. Like, if my son sees me from time to time grieving my other son, that's okay. But I can't call my son up and go, having a bad day in grief, can you help me? No, I'm the parent. I got to take that to another friend. Of course, you want your kids to see you're crying, you miss your mom, but they're not your grief counselors.
that's good. That's good.
It's hard for children to see us grieve. It's hard for children to see us cry.
Yeah.
And I always say children don't want to hear about two things with their parents. They don't want to hear about their parents' grief, and they don't want to hear about their parents' sex. Children don't want to know
it. That's funny. They don't want to hear about that latter one. How do you cope with an adult child estrangement?
It's hard. It's hard because we just want to talk to them. We want them back. We want to fix that relationship. While they're gone, you got to work on yourself. And I'll tell you, here's the hard part about this. In estrangement, we often sit around, a lot of us, I've done it, we sit around going, when they come back, I'm going to tell them this, and I'm going to explain this, and I'm going to tell them how I felt. And it's like, oh, crap. That isn't going to be a conversation. That's going to be a lecture. They might not stay if I give them a lecture. All right. They said I'm angry all the time. Well, they're gone. Let me work on my anger. They said I don't listen. Let me work on listening to people. Let me work on me so that when they show up, I'm the best version of me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really good because I just read this book and the lady was talking about how she was going back to restore her relationship with her family after she had left and she had been gone for maybe 20 years. And when she walked in, her mom was elated, but her dad was not. And so, working on yourself to prepare yourself for those things, that's good. I really appreciate you, David. You are always amazing, fantastic. I'm always taking lots of nuggets and takeaways back with me. You have really helped my progress and, my journey. And so I'm really grateful. Again, on Saturday, what time does it start? Saturday?
9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. So just know people can join that. I also have, after that, there's a whole Tender Hearts grief group I have. Some people here I see are in it in the chat. In that grief group, we even get together for a bit on Christmas online and Christmas Eve, New Year's Day, because no one needs to be alone.
I love that.
No one needs to be alone.
I love that. And if you're not following David, please do so because there's so many tools and resources and groups that he has all the time that you don't have to be alone and you can always find resources and tools to help you in your journey. David, thank you so much for always being a cousin of the cousins.
I love being here and being with you. Thank you so much for having me. Just anytime I'm here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And if you have questions, make sure that you can send those to David.
And by the way, if like 9 a.m. they're busy, they can still sign up and I'll send them a replay of what happened Saturday.
There you go. There you go. Get connected with David, guys. I mean, he is a resource and a tool that's available for all of us. So don't miss that beautiful opportunity. You guys have a happy holiday, Merry Christmas, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Lots of love to all of you. Thank you for class. And I'll see everybody on Friday for Pep Rally. David, thank you as always. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Bye. All right, y'all. All right.